Hi, this is Stephen McCandless, a student in the doctoral program at Lamar University in Beaumont. I will be presenting today on adult learning theory and a theorist named Peter Jarvis. I will highlight his career, his learning theory, and how it compares to other theorists in the field. This is Adult Learning Theorist Project presented on the subject of Peter Jarvis, presented to Dr. Young and Dr. Shelton at Lamar University in Beaumont. Peter Jarvis is internationally known as a scholar and a speaker in the field of adult and continuing education. He is currently Professor of Continuing Education at the University of Surrey in the UK. Professor Jarvis has authored 9 books. Among them, Adult Learning in the Social Context has appeared in a revised edition and received the O'Hull Award. His International Dictionary of Adult and Continuing Education is the only international dictionary of adult and continuing education ever published. Peter Jarvis says we learn by experiences in life. On the screen you will see the Jarvis learning model versus the Kolb learning model. Peter Jarvis used the Kolb model with a number of different adult groups and asked them to explore it based on their own experiences of learning. He was then able to develop a model which allowed different routes. Some of these are non-learning, some non-reflective learning, and some reflective learning. We will take a look at the Jarvis model. You will see in the upper left that it begins in box 1 with the person, and it goes on to the next box where the person is in a situation or has an experience. That will move on to the next box where the person is reinforced but relatively unchanged, which is box 4. You will notice in the Jarvis model how the arrows go back and forth between different boxes. That is where Jarvis said that we learn from multiple experiences, as he shows here in his model. Let's look at the Kolb model. The Kolb model shows concrete experiences, reflective observation, abstract conceptualization, and active experimentation. According to Kolb, the learning cycle can begin at any one of the 4 points mentioned above, though the cycle should be approached as a continuous spiral. In reality, however, the process of learning begins with a person carrying out a particular action and then seeing the effect of that action on the situation. From this first step, the learner proceeds to the second step of understanding the effects of his action in the particular situation. The second step has the intention on the part of the learner to anticipate what would follow from the action if the same action were to be taken under same or similar circumstances. Based on this second step, a learner would proceed to the third step of understanding, the general principle under which the particular instance falls. Looking back at the Jarvis model, we will look at box 1, the person. Boxes 1 through 4 is the presumption level of the non-learning stage. This is where people interact through patterned behavior, such as saying hello, how are you doing, have a good day. Boxes 1 through 4 are also the non-consideration, non-learning level. Here the person does not respond to a potential learning situation. And rejection of non-learning takes place in boxes 1 to 3, to 7, and to 9. And you will see how the arrow goes from box 3, the experience, and will jump down to 7, the reasoning and reflecting, and then to 9, the person, change and more experienced. The non-reflective part of Jarvis's model is the preconscious level, and boxes 1 to 3 that will go to 6 are either 4 or 9. This form occurs to every person as a result of having experiences in daily living that are not really thought about, skimming across the surface of daily life. Practice of non-reflective is in boxes 1 to 3, to 5, to 8, and then to 6 are either 4 or 9. Traditionally, this has been restricted to things like training for a manual occupation or acquiring particular physical skills. It may also refer to the acquisition of language itself. Memorization is in boxes 1 to 3 that go to 6 and possibly 8 to 6 and then either to 4 or 9, again in the non-reflective stage. For the reflective learning of Jarvis's model, the contemplation takes place in box 1 to 3 to 7 to 8 to 6 to 9. Here the person considers it and makes an intellectual decision about it. Reflective practice occurs. This is close to what Schoen describes as reflection on and in action. And experiential learning occurs, the way in which pragmatic knowledge may be learned. So as you look at Jarvis's model, you will see it can jump from box to box and level to level, as compared to Kolb's model, which basically is a spiral from one step to the other. Now let's look at the non-learning presumption stage of Jarvis's learning model. Box 1 shows the person. The person will then have a situation or an experience which makes them reinforce what they're learning, but it is unchanged. The non-reflective preconscious of Jarvis's model shows box 5 is the practice or experimentation as people interact. Box 8 is in the middle, and box 6 is on the far right with memorization. Box 6 can interact with box 9 or box 8. Box 7 is reasoning and reflection, and box 8 is evaluation. Jarvis's learning process involves being open and willing to involve in experiences, observe and reflect, and analyze new ideas. Taking a look at this model for Jarvis also shows in the top box the whole person, body, mind, self, life history, the life world in general. It goes down to box 2, an experience or episode socially constructed. And you can see the arrow from box 2 goes under to box 3, which is thought and reflection. Again, from box 3, the person will go to either box 4, box 5, or down to box 6, according to the situation. Box 4 is the emotion level, box 5, action, and box 6, the person in the world, body, mind, self, changed. The changes memorized, person is more experienced. Box 6 can then go over to box 1, which is the second part of box 1, where the next learning cycle begins. The changed whole person, body, mind, self, and life history. Basically beginning the cycle once again. The references used in this presentation were those of Peter Jarvis, the many books that he wrote. Also Peter Jarvis and a book he wrote with John Holford and Patricia Gothra. As well as Roger Lindsay with a journal article from the British Journal of Educational Technology. This concludes the presentation on Peter Jarvis, an adult learning theorist.